Hi there, my name is Kevin Smith, and I am the President, Head Coach, and Chief Executive Running Officer for a company here in Toronto called Dynamo that brings out the best in people, runners, in mind, body, and spirit by helping them improve their running. In today's topic of our discussion for the 7 habits of highly effective Dynamo runners, we want to talk to you about something we've termed called 600 ups. And it's really the part 2, or the add-on extended package, new and improved part of the running health insurance that we have previously talked to you about. And the genesis of it was, in my own running, I had adopted this running health insurance, and for a couple of years, my running took off, and I was experiencing a real change for the better in my running fortunes. But a couple of years in, at a local running race, I got an injury in my lower leg. My calf blew up on me in a race. And of course, that's no fun to go through, and you get all sulky, and it was just ugly experience, like it always is when you get injured in the middle of a race. And I had to stop and walk my way home, and that was no fun. But on top of that, I was reeling because I thought I'd had this all figured out. I thought I had this proof. I had this elixir of invincibility because of the running health insurance that I was practicing. And all of a sudden I got a calf problem, and it really shook me, and I went to bed really upset that night. And I woke up and I thought, well, I have to do my morning walk. And I tried it, and it was difficult to walk, but I did it, and I went through, and I got to my gym, and then I thought, oh, I usually do a little, part of my strength routine is something called just heel raises, and I usually do those, but it's calf. I probably shouldn't do it now because I have a strained, at least, if not torn calf. It feels really bad. So I think my first instinct rationally said, oh, I shouldn't do this. But something deep in me said, in sort of an instinct, said, try, just see how bad it is or how good it is. So I'm going to try and demonstrate for you the first thing I did before, the regular calf raises, and then I want to show you the next thing, what that turned into. Okay, so we could just keep going. All right, so the standard calf raise that I was already doing before that injury was simply a single leg, straight leg, just grab something for support so you don't fall over, and away you go. It's a quick, light, doesn't have to be full cycle, it's just barely make sure your heel leaves the ground and don't lose your balance, and off you go. Okay? If you can do 100, great. You probably can't because it takes a while to build up the endurance to do it, so do what you can. Stop just before it gets like it feels like it's getting too tight and it's fatiguing. Okay? But note where you stop. If it stops at 30 or 40 or 60, note that. Then you go to the other leg, do the same thing. Note if they are about the same in fatigue. That's important, because if one gets tired at 35 and the other goes to 80, you've got a big calf strength discrepancy, and that's going to be a problem. That's probably going to lead to an injury unless you equalize that. How do you equalize? You just do more volume on the weaker leg with more sets. So you might start with the weak, go to the strong, finish with the weak, and that's one set. Over time, they will equalize in strength. So that was the first, we talk about 600 ups. There was 100 on one leg, 200 on the other leg, straight leg. I was already doing those when I got the calf injury, and so when I went into the gym with the calf injury, and I went, this probably isn't going to be good, and I was fine. And I did 100 either side, even the injury side. And that made me think, and I couldn't figure it out for a while, but then it struck me, of course, if I can do them, that part of my calf is fine. There's another part, and of course it wasn't the gastroc, the big ball of muscle, I guess they say, that, at the top of your calf. The thing that had pulled on me was the smaller, sneakier little muscle underneath called the soleus, the bottom, the lower calf. That sheathes in, it's at the bottom, it sheathes in underneath the top of your calf. It's a smaller muscle group, but it has to handle and withstand as much force as the bigger muscle group that has to transfer from your body into the ground as you run. So it's more susceptible to injury. And so once my calf felt better, it took a week or so, I think, to get over the strain, I decided, you know what, in addition to the straight leg 100 on each leg, I'm going to add a bent leg version. where I bend the leg and I don't straighten as I go. I bend it and I keep that bend in the knee about the same. Okay, so it's really just the ankle that's doing the bend. Try and fix the knee. See, so it's not, you're not straightening, you're keeping the knee bent at about the same angle, and you're doing your calf raise that way. And the other side. There's 300 now, other side is 400, we're almost to 600. What else did we add? The final aspect, and this was, again, to relate it back to the endurance aspect of running, was single leg hops. Okay? And for many years, I did straight on hops like this. Just away you go, 100 of those. Doesn't take very long. Flip over to the other side, 100 on this side. That's your 600 ups. One little addition that we've added in recent years, because I did end up having some tendon trouble on the other side, realizing that everything I was doing with all those 600 ups was linear or longitudinal, one direction. So I was building up really strong that way, but leaving myself open laterally to weakness, or to a relative, I was creating a relative strength difference between the lateral aspect and the longitudinal, and the shearing across as our foot hits the ground and rolls across was creating a problem. So I modified the hops of the 600 ups to say move around, so you could do side to side. Just slight difference, or you could do that triangle, or you could do the square, that kind of thing, but I just go side to side. Okay? I've timed this whole routine. Once you get good at it and you build up to 100, if you don't take breaks, it's less than 5 minutes. And all we want to do is 3 times a week. That should be manageable if you hit the gym, or some people do it when they brush their teeth. Some people do it in the Tim Hortons line. Wherever you're going to do it, find a place, because it only takes 5 minutes. I do it as the first thing I do when I get to the gym before I do other strengthening. Up to you where you find time, but that will, it's the other aspect to it. Finish your shoring up from the ground up, from where the rubber meets the road, where your feet touch the ground toward your knee. If you do those 2 things, a dedicated running health insurance, and then apply the 3 times a week 600 ups, I can almost guarantee, certainly way beyond anything you'd otherwise feel or experience, you will have so fewer lower leg problems to affect your running. So, thank you very much.